Hey everyone, this is LuckySevenDX. Welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. In the last episode, we jumped in the water like a dumbass. No, we actually finished up the rest of the Force Gem stuff, and we did the whole pirate hideout, and that was pretty cool. We also got some golden train parts, and it's just a really long video. This is still kind of a long video, but at least it's a bit more manageable. First thing we need to do before I head to the Tower of Spirits, which is what we're going to be doing this episode, this next Tower of Spirits section is actually pretty long, so it's going to take 2 videos to do. I'll be uploading them today and then tomorrow as well, just because, you know, that's how I kind of like to do dungeons. And Tower of Spirits, in a way, is kind of a dungeon. Anyway, I'm dumping potions because I'm dumping these 8 heart potions. I'm buying some golden potions, or yellow potions, or however you want to call them. What are they called? Are they something special? They're just, oh, they're yellow potions. They should be called golden potions, because they're the best potion in the game. What they will do is they will heal your hearts to full. And that's really all they do. Nothing too special, really. But because it's a 6 heart difference, so in the long run, it's gonna be best to have these. I'm gonna try to keep them for the Take 'em all on challenge later after the 5th dungeon. But just in case for an emergency, I'll have them there. Rubies are not really. Shut up, woman. Just putting that person in her place. If it's an emergency, I'll just use that. Although, given that I haven't used the Song of Healing yet, oh well, you can use them in the dungeons anyway. I can also just use that as well. So really, health, not really a big deal. I don't think you can use the Song of Healing in the Take 'em all on challenge, though, so the potions will be very handy then. But yeah, money, not an object. I have everything that I really need to buy, for the most part, besides possibly one of the side quests later will kind of have... It's a little expensive, but really all my funds will cover that. I can really just sell a 500 ruby treasure and I'll be good to go for the rest of the game with just those 500 rubies. So, and of course, it's the Tower of Spirits, so you know we're going to be getting plenty more treasures in there, and the next dungeon. So really, I'll probably have like a few thousand rubies by the end of the game that are just not going to be spent anywhere. I just kind of rush things a little bit just to get Beetle out of the way, just so I can have the extra heart for now as opposed to wait till the end of the game. Anyways, now that I have effectively blabbed enough to basically, you know, move past this whole transition section, or where we're going to the Tower of Spirits. We're here in the Tower of Spirits, and I should probably blab some more, because the tower is complete now, and it's going to take a really long time to get all the way around. In fact, this isn't even the longest time it's going to be. It's just so many stairs to climb. Link, you must be tired as hell, but the music's pretty cool as you're climbing, especially because it gets more intense the longer you're climbing, which, well, because the music just sort of builds. You don't really get to appreciate until you do the full climb like this. And then you're like, hey, this music's actually kind of badass, and well, then all is well. Yeah, see, it's kind of this little epic build as you're slowly climbing, and we're almost at the top finally. Look how many, that's like 5 flights of stairs he just ran up without even like without being getting tired in the slightest. Well, then again, he's a video game character. Video game characters don't get tired. So Zelda's apparently worried about Anjean. No, of course she's not, because she's a selfish jerk, and she's just like, I'm worried about myself, screw Anjean. Well, as we know, last time we saw her, she was fighting Byrne, so we'll finally get to see how that's resolved. But first, a new kind of phantom, the last new kind of phantom. These are Wrecker Phantoms, I believe they're called. We'll figure that out in a little bit when I actually get one. But they roll as a ball as they chase you, and they can break through blocks, and they just wreck everything, hence the name Wrecker Phantom. They're also pretty fast, so be careful, but they also can't stop very well, so you can deke them out a lot easier than other Phantoms. Now, you can use the Wrecker Phantom to get through that one, but otherwise I would recommend using bombs in this section just to blow these things up. And you can also use multiple bombs at once to save a little bit of time. Blow up as many of these things as you can, because they will just get in the way and they'll lead to you getting wrecked by the Wrecker Phantoms, and you don't really want that. Also be careful, because if a bomb goes off nearby, they will actually chase after them, as you see. So you can sort of use your bombs as a way to as a diversion as well. So always keep that in mind. That's actually a really useful technique to use with the bombs. And I got caught, but luckily, I mean, in general, unless they're like heading straight at you, it's really hard to get hit by them. I mean, generally they are the easiest one to get hit. They are the ones who are most likely to hit you. He didn't see the bomb thrown across. He's not suspicious of that at all. He's just very poor AI for the Phantoms. But luckily the bomb will distract him, so he won't follow us, even though he's really slow, so he won't make it there anyway. Really, all the Phantoms are really only the one in the middle here is really the big threat for the most part. As you saw, there's these really big blocks. We can't move those. They're basically blocks that only Zelda can move. As once she's a Phantom, so we're gonna have to get deal with those later. We'll come back down to this floor and get that treasure down there. For now, just clear out the rest of these, just because I will need to make use of them later. It'll just be handy to take care of them now. And then we'll just go ahead and clear the rest and actually get what we need on this floor, which is going to be a key. Now, in order to get the key, the treasure chest for the key to appear, first we need to hit a switch, and the switch is over here. Just very simple block puzzle, really, here. I guess this is a warm-up, because there actually are some really complicated block puzzles in this part of the Tower of Spirits, so I don't know if this was like a warm-up or something, but that's just how it goes. And there a treasure chest appears, and all is fine and dandy. So we're going to head over on that side and get that one, and then head up to this. Like I said, this is a really long Tower of Spirit section. Like the past couple ones, even getting the 3 tiers of light, we only have 1 so far, and getting the rest of them, it's a pretty complicated experience, really. It does take a while to get all 3 of them. They do make it harder and harder to get the 3 tiers of light as you progress in the Tower of Spirits. So that's just how it works. So in fact, it's going to span like 3 floors in order to get them, whereas the past ones have, you know, the second one spanned 1 floor, and then one after that spanned 2 floors, I think, something like that. I don't remember. Oh, I didn't even think of the Torch Phantom one. I think that was all on 1 floor, wasn't it? Or it was 2 floors? I don't know. As you guys can see, it does get more complicated as you progress through the game, though. So, it's going to take us a while to find that, and then we'll have to be able to have some fun with our Warp Phantom finally, because, well, mostly the blocks are the thing that we're going to need a Phantom for. This one doesn't really make too much use of the Warp Phantom. The Warp Phantom has a few things that actually really hinder it a lot in terms of actual usefulness, in terms of Zelda. So, in general, later in the game, we'll be seeing sections where there's actually multiple kinds of phantoms where we have to actually use them as like a puzzle sort of scenario, you know, juggling between different phantoms with Zelda. And the Wrecker Phantom does tend to have a lot of weaknesses that going for it. It does have a few benefits, being able to break blocks and some other stuff like that, but in general, it kind of has more weaknesses than it does benefits, just for a few major reasons that are going to actually get very much in the way during this section of Tower of Spirits, as we're going to see later in this video. First of all, we have all of these arrow things. You'll see a lot of those in this dungeon, being that we just got the bow. As you can see, we actually need to hit that one over there, so you need to stand the switch, because if you get off it, like in the Fire Temple, the door will close, and that's never a good thing. So we're going to hit this thing twice, and then, yeah, actually worked. I thought I would hit the wall there, maybe. And then we'll go ahead and do this. So use the boomerang. Really, the boomerang has just been relegated to a puzzle sort of item at this point. It's really not that useful for any sort of combat, really. It's just puzzles. As the boomerang generally tends to be late game, it generally tends to lose its usefulness. It's usually like a very good early game item in most Zeldas, and then later on it turns out really bad. Unless you're talking about the magic boomerang in freaking Link's Awakening, which is just overpowered as hell. That boomerang is some scary, scary bananas. Anyway, once you head over here, what's going to happen is an actual pre-scripted phantom encounter. He's going to appear and he's going to immediately see you, and you're going to have to run for your life because he's going to hunt you down, and there is nowhere really to hide it from this one too. So what you really need to do, run as far as you can over here, and then just sort of juke him out, come back this way, and use the time where he's looking for you, because once he passes you, he actually loses track of you. Use this opportunity to actually blow up this part, get the thing. If you can engineer it so he'll hit that for you, that'd be even better. But don't hesitate to use bombs. You have 30 of them if you've gotten all the bomb bags at this point, so just use them as much as you can. Generally, a good tip to have for all these Wrecker Phantom sections is use bombs when you can. The only time you really can't use bombs is something we're going to see on this floor here. At least I don't know how effective bombs would be on these ones. Is when you have giant stacks of blocks, which you're going to see in the middle of this room actually once I actually showed off in a second. But first, what we need to do, there's a lot of things we need to take care of for this room. It's not only one of these arrow things. First thing we need to do is we need to basically point this upward, because that's where I want the arrow to end up. And then we're going to need to shoot it from above. In the meantime, we actually have to send a switch while we do it, so we have to actually sort of manipulate this thing. But what we actually need to do, I don't think bombs would be very good for breaking giant stacks of block like this, so what we need to do is get the Wrecker Phantom's attention, because he can wreck entire towers of blocks with one roll. So just keep getting his attention, get him to roll into these blocks, destroy as much of them as possible. I think I probably have enough right now, but I'm just going to destroy the rest, I think, to make sure. Actually, I think it's pretty much out of the way. Basically what would happen is that giant tower would end up getting in the way of what you're trying to, end up getting in the way of the arrow, so we actually need to do that. And we also need to get another arrow, which is on the top of this giant thing, so come on, Wrecker, dude, just wreck the stuff, it's in your name, you can do it. No, oh, that's not good, don't get cornered by him. I mean, generally they're not too hard to dodge. I think I took care of most of it. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. I'll just quickly take care of this little wall first as well, just so it's not in the way. But that's gonna be good to go for here. Bring this up here. The last thing we need to do is just move this block over to be able to bridge the gap between these two places, because you need to bring the arrow thing over to another section. You can also use the block to stop the Wrecker Phantom. They're generally a bit stupid, so they don't tend to do very well. Nah, get out of the way, dude. You're just being annoying now. You can't catch me, because as we know, enemy phantoms are too stupid to climb upstairs or see you on top of stairs. So we're just gonna sort of wait for him to go away now. Dude, just give up and go away. Come on, it's not very hard. Yeah, do your patrol. Completely forget that, you know, this is just the guard philosophy in so many video games. Up, out of sight, out of mind. Up, there's a criminal on the loose. Oh, I can't see him. I know he's there, but I can't see him. He must not exist. That just seems to be the general guard mentality in most games. And of course, you can see me now, but unfortunately, you're not going to get me, so I'm just going to shoot my arrow and not give any sort of damn about you. You should be able to roll up those stairs. You're a freaking wrecker. Like, you're rolling on the stairs. Come on. Can phantoms not use stairs? Like, who designed these phantoms to not be smart enough to climb up a flight of stairs? It's really not that hard. Like, my dog can do it. I'm sure these phantoms can. Anyway, once you hit that thing, it'll open up the final tier of light, and we'll of course use it to grab ourselves a Wrecker Phantom immediately, and well, basically get them. But as you can see, it does take a while. It took like half this video to do that. This is about a fourth, because the two videos are about equal length. Well, I think the second one's actually a bit longer than this one, mostly because of cutscenes and stuff. Because, well, the tower is complete, so there's going to be cutscenes and stuff. What do you expect? But now we have a Wrecker Phantom on our side, and that's always fine and dandy. Of course, we're not going to keep this one for long, because obviously it's going to be much more use of us to get the ones on the actual floors where they are, so there's less Wrecker Phantoms to get in our way. Although, generally at this point, besides having to deal with this one on this floor, which we do have to deal with seeing as he's heading our way, the Wrecker Phantom, the Phantoms at this point aren't really that much of a threat for at least a while, so we're not going to deal with them too much for now. Now, the cool thing about Zelda being a Wrecker Phantom, though, one of the advantages she has is she's really good at taking down other Phantoms, because you can roll into them, stun them, really easy to hit them, and then you can just take over the Phantom, and they're not a threat anymore. So, there you go. That's just one way to get it done. Now, what we're going to need to do, and the other thing the Wrecker Phantom can do, is break these totem things, the spikes and stuff. Link has no way of dealing with these kind of things, so only the Wrecker Phantom can. So we're going to just do this. The nice thing about her, I guess, is her pathfinding seems to be a bit better for the Wrecker Phantom. Like, she'll always try to stay on the path as much as possible, so even if she fails the first time, unlike other Phantoms where she seems to sort of give up, she'll actually just keep going. Like, as you can see, she's just going to keep trying until she gets it right. So, while the momentum factor for the Wrecker Phantoms is a little weird, she at least doesn't give up on it. I guess they sort of compensated for the fact that her movement's really weird when she's rolling a ball. However, like I said, there are some weaknesses that she does have that we're going to have to deal with. One of which, well, I guess I can explain them right now, even though I'm going to be showing them off in a little bit. Basically, Wrecker Zelda cannot carry you, and she cannot carry items either, like bombs or these arrow things that Phantoms can actually carry them. So that's the big weakness of that. That's something that the game is going to exploit a lot in order to force us to switch Phantoms up. In fact, it's even going to sort of introduce us to this whole Phantom switching thing during this part of the Tower of Spirits, in fact. Because as we're soon going to see, there's also a thing over here. We can't do anything with this quite yet, mostly because we don't have a Wrecker. We have a Wrecker Phantom that can't carry stuff. So we're going to have to grab that later. We need a key, so we're going to head back downstairs to the middle section, which we'll finally be able to show that off, which is going to end up being a very giant and very long and annoying block puzzle, which is a little unfortunate. You can save a little bit of time, though, if you actually have Zelda working while you're working. You'll do a little bit of time management here. So Zelda has to push the big blocks, and she can't push the small blocks. So you deal with the small blocks. Yeah, at least she keeps trying. At least she doesn't give up. And then, Zelda will handle the big blocks. So the way I like to do this is push that big block out of the way first. We're going to deal with the switch in this corner first. Because basically you have to put hit all the switches. And we have just enough small blocks, and we'll even use a big block to do that as well, to basically get all of them, including using Zelda to hit one of the switches. So that's how the next, I guess, 5 minutes or so are going to be, because this takes a long time. We're going to have Zelda push this one over here just enough where she can come back from the other side, push it upwards. Although she can also pull stuff, so you don't really have to always go around. Actually, now that I think about it, it would have been a little faster the other way. The reason to push that block out of the way is so you can actually get around here and then push this block down to this switch. Probably the easiest one to deal with. Well, they're all pretty easy to deal with. It's just sort of a long, annoying process. So I'm going to have her push this one upwards, and in the meantime, I'm going to start dealing with the blocks on the right a little bit. This one here specifically. which we're going to want to get the two of these other small blocks into the upper right section, which, taking a quick look, and it seems like the best way, how would I want to go about doing this? I should probably just push this all the way to the right. Kind of seems like the best idea. I think there's enough wiggle room here in order to get over there and do that. Yeah, this looks like it should, yeah, that should work. We should be able to get over there. We're going to want Zelda to take care of that one big block up there, though, to make things a little bit easier for us to maneuver. In fact, I'm actually going to call her over here to, well, actually, I need to get over here first. I forgot to finish this one off. Go finish your work, Zelda. Come on. And, well, I didn't actually tell her to do that. I guess I can't blame myself if I don't tell her things. Communication is key. You should always communicate very well. You want to be able to pull this thing over to the left a little bit, though. So what we're going to do is have her deal with that big block in a little bit. I'm trying to get off this thing, and sometimes the getting off thing's a little annoying. The getting off thing's really annoying. Yeah, that doesn't sound like any way, shape, or form being a dirty phrase. But we're going to actually pull this over to the left a little bit, just so we can get some room to get in there. And we'll be able to deal with that block. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start dealing with this one as well, because we need to get this one out of the way. Well, actually, she's pretty much out of the way here. I'll just deal with this first. Zelda's a bit of it. Zelda can work fast when she wants to, I guess. Then we just want to push the other small block up from underneath, get that switch, and then we can deal with those two in the lower right corner as well, so we just need to deal with those ones. I think there's two. I forget if there's one or two over there. I think there's two. I think. But what we need to do, we're going to have her push this one down. There's only one down there. Okay, well then Zelda can handle that one, and we'll just push this other block upwards, and that should be pretty much the block puzzle. So, not too bad, I suppose. We're just going to corner Zelda in there a little bit. Hope you're not afraid of being surrounded by blocks. I hope you don't have a... Is there like such thing as a fear of blocks? Blockophobia? Of course, it wouldn't be called blockophobia. It would be called something like completely weird sounding, like blah 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 blockophobia or something like that. I don't know. At least that wasn't anywhere close to what it would actually be. But they usually use more fancy sort of names for that. But we're gonna put Zelda on the switch. That's gonna actually remove the spikes. Oh well, I actually didn't finish doing that. There you go. Spikes removed. Get the treasure chest. There's gonna be a key in there, and we can move back on. We could just go immediately back to the second floor and deal with that. But first, we're actually going to get the treasure chest on this floor that we need the big Zelda to push the big block in order to move. So in order to gain access back to that area, we're going to need to have her push this block out, or pull the block out technically. So get to work on that, Zelda. Just kind of a bit of this is where the games, the puzzle, the Phantom section start becoming a bit like more about managing both characters at the same time. Which definitely starts. It starts to become more important to manage both characters at the same time at this point. Kind of. You'll see how it kind of goes. This is where the Phantom puzzles actually start to get a bit clever and interesting. Actually, certainly a lot more interesting. It's less like action and more puzzle based, and I kind of like that. The whole Tower of Spirits definitely does make up for the fact that it's not really the standard amount of dungeons. There's only like 8, or there's only 5 instead of 8. So all these sections sort of make up for that a little bit because there's kind of like mini dungeons. Heck, the Tower of Spirits is pretty much as long as like 3 or 4 dungeons easily, so it does kind of make up for everything. So we're gonna have Zelda pull this block upwards. You could also send it to the other side and pull it leftwards, but I'm just gonna do it like this for now. And then we're gonna go ahead, quickly grab this treasure before the Phantom comes back, because I just want to. I can't like talk today. Like I'm like slurring all my words. Like you're gonna get the Phantom before you get the treasure, and it's just, God, I can't talk. I cannot talk, and that's just fine and dandy, because, that's what I'm supposed to do is talk. Unfortunately, the AI does get a little retarded, especially when it comes to pulling these blocks and stuff, so if that happens, just have her move manually a little bit, and she'll get the picture and be able to move on. So we're going to quickly head over here, upstairs, and, well, we can move on to the next floor now, because we have a key, so that's always good. I don't want to wait for you, Zelda. You're really whiny and annoying and just annoying. You're annoying. Except, I guess you're getting more helpful these days. You're like Ella from Mario Golf. Like, you were really annoying at first, but then you actually became helpful a little bit. Of course, at this point, now that I've said that, she's probably just going to screw up and just mess everything up totally, but at least she's not getting too caught on things these days. I did bring this over here. We're going to need her to pick this up, but I forgot that the Record Phantom can't pick things up because she just sort of moves them over. So as you can see, she just, yeah. She can't hold anything while she's all rolled up. It's like, she's like Samus the Morph Ball. This is Phantom Samus, that's what it is. That's pretty much what it is. You just sort of sits and rolls and crazy shenanigans. I'm going to just shove that, yeah, you can't do this because you roll and then you fall down, and that's actually going to come to play really soon. Actually on this next floor. So let's head up there and I'll show you what I mean, I suppose. Kind of get a little bit ahead of myself, just a little bit. But the rest of this episode is going to have to deal with finding a solution to this problem coming up, which is going, well, I can't quite show you yet. Record Phantom is very good at this section right here, though, which is unfortunate because we're actually going to do it without Record Phantom at some point. But you can just roll over here, just take care of all the boulders, and then you can just follow in the wake of her destruction. Record Phantom is pretty powerful, especially against enemies and boulders and stuff like that. It's certainly the most powerful Phantom, but it's also the most limited Phantom. As you can see, Hidden Switch will turn the boulders off. That's always a good thing. But here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. There's lava, and since Record Phantom cannot carry me across, well, then we can't really do anything of that. So we'll just use her to break all these things out here and see if we can find ourselves a regular Phantom to use instead. So this is where you would, like, you know, the whole basically this dungeon is divided into two sections. There's the Record Phantom section and there's the normal Phantom section. And we're getting pretty close to the end of the Record Phantom section, which is kind of why it's actually a perfect way to split these two videos is the Record Phantom section and the normal Phantom section. So the rest of this is just going to be finding a normal Phantom, which we're going to have happen in this room after a little bit of craziness, though, because you can see there was a door there. When there's a door like that, there usually means that there's going to be a fight. So you hit the 2 on the switch, and look at this shenanigans. The way I like to do this one is I like to put Zelda and just have her just sort of move around like this and just sort of create some chaos and hopefully hit a few enemies on top of it. Because she does tend to roll over these enemies pretty nicely. And then in the meantime, just use your bow and snipe the rest of them that are kind of out of her radius of destruction of sorts. Also, one thing I actually didn't realize until now is some Stalfos can drop Stalfos skulls. You think you'd be able to get a Stalfos skull from all of them, but I guess Link kills them so much that they break the skull. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I was thinking, who throws a bone? Don't do that, dude. Not cool. Unfortunately, when that happens, 3 fish spawn, and on top of that, there will actually be a rat running around on the top of the screen. Not on the top screen, but on the top of the area. That's what I kind of meant to say. Now, the way that the deal is take a few hits to necessarily. You might take a few hits doing this, but use your whip to get rid of all their shields. And if any of them without shields come near, Zelda's gonna start hacking at them, and she'll be able to clean up them really fast. So go near Zelda. Just go near Zelda. Let her just basically take down the rest of these with her Record Phantom and her slashing, because she just. That guy just got the crap beaten out of him. My goodness. And there's also a rat there, so I didn't need to deal with that. Luckily, it didn't come downwards. It does tend to come down and actually disrupt Zelda, so you can't use her as effectively during that. So if that happens, go up there, kill the rat, and that'll be good. So once you solve that, well, a ton of normal Phantoms appear. So a fear, really, and a bunch of normal Phantoms appear. So what we need to do is grab one of those, and then we can make our way out of the area, pretty much. However, it's a little bit tricky because you want to try to end this in the middle of the area because then they'll notice you right away. If you're in the middle, they won't notice you. And this gets a little bit tricky because there's 4 of them and it's really hard to escape. So you take a hit, but it won't reset anything you've done. There'll still be the 4 Phantoms there. It actually makes it really easy to get the bottom one then. As you can see, just need to run up and hit him in the back and then you got him. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. This is LuckySevenDX signing out. In the next episode, we're going to be taking care of the normal Phantom section of this dungeon, of this Tower of Spirits, pretty much. So I will see you guys next time. We'll finish up the Tower of Spirits. Shenanigans will happen.